I sit in my car, parked just down the street from my house. My hands grip the steering wheel tightly, knuckles white. I've been here for what feels like hours, but it's probably only been minutes. The engine hums quietly, the only sound in the dark, empty street. I watch the lights in the house, our house, flickering behind the curtains. I know what I'm about to do will change everything. I take a deep breath, but it does nothing to calm the storm inside me. I'm Mark. I'm a successful businessman, or at least that's what everyone thinks. I've built a life that most people envy. A beautiful home, a thriving career, a loving wife, Anna, and our son, Jack, who's the light of my life. On the surface, everything looks perfect, but there's always been this nagging feeling, this doubt that I've tried to ignore for too long. Anna and I met in college. She was the kind of woman who could light up a room with her smile, and I fell hard. We got married young, had Jack a few years later, and built a life together. But lately, things have changed. She's been distant, distracted, always on her phone, or out with friends I've never met. It's not like her. I've tried to brush it off, telling myself I'm being paranoid, that she's just busy. But it's more than that. There's something going on, and deep down, I know it. I glance at my phone, the screen lighting up with the time. I should go inside, pretend everything is normal, play the role of the devoted husband. But I can't shake the feeling that I'm on the edge of something big, something I'm not sure I'm ready to face. My relationship with Anna has been strained for months. We barely talk anymore, just go through the motions. I've caught her in little lies, but nothing I could confront her about without sounding like an insecure husband. And then there's Jack. He's 10 now, smart, sensitive, and he's noticed the tension too. I've seen the way he looks at us, like he's trying to figure out what's wrong. I hate that he's caught in the middle of this. Tonight was supposed to be like any other. We had dinner as a family, the three of us sitting around the table, but the silence was thick, uncomfortable. After dinner, Anna disappeared upstairs and I sat with Jack, helping him with his homework. He seemed off, quiet, and I could tell something was bothering him. When I asked, he looked up at me, eyes wide, and burst into tears. That's when he told me. He'd walked into our bedroom earlier and saw his mother with another man, some stranger, in our bed. He was terrified, said the man threatened him if he told anyone. My world shatters in that moment. Everything I thought I knew is a lie, and I know without a doubt that nothing will ever be the same. Jack's words hit me like a sledgehammer. My mind reels, struggling to process what he's just said. I want to believe it's a mistake, that he misunderstood what he saw, but his tears, his fear, are too real. My heart pounds in my chest, my vision blurs, and I feel the floor drop out from under me. How could Anna do this? In our home, our bed. I pull Jack close, trying to calm him down, but the fury bubbling inside me makes it hard to think straight. My son, my little boy, had to witness something no child should ever see. I kiss the top of his head, murmuring reassurances I don't really believe. It's okay, Jack. It's okay. You did the right thing telling me, but it's not okay, not even close. After putting Jack to bed, I sit in the dark living room, the weight of his confession pressing down on me. My thoughts spiral, anger and hurt mingling into a toxic brew. I feel sick to my stomach, imagining Anna with someone else, in the place that was supposed to be ours alone. I can't stay here, not right now. I need to confront her, but the thought of her lies, the deceit, makes me hesitate. I grab my keys and leave the house, needing air, needing space. I drive aimlessly through the neighborhood, thoughts racing, hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly they ache. The night is quiet, but my mind is anything but. I keep replaying Jack's words, his terrified expression. My wife, the woman I've trusted for years, the mother of my child, has betrayed me in the worst possible way. I don't know how long I've been driving when I finally pull into an empty parking lot and kill the engine. My hands shake as I lean back in my seat, staring up at the dark sky. I can't ignore it anymore. I have to face this, face her. But how do I do that without losing it? Without doing something I'll regret? After what feels like an eternity, I turn the car around and head home. The drive feels surreal, like I'm watching someone else live my life. I don't know what I'll do when I see Anna. All I know is that I need answers. When I step inside the house, it's eerily quiet. I can hear the faint sound of the TV from the bedroom. I take a deep breath and walk upstairs, each step heavy with dread. Anna is lying in bed, scrolling through her phone, the TV casting a soft glow across the room. She looks up when I enter, smiling like nothing's wrong. The sight of her calm, casual demeanor ignites something dangerous inside me. I stand there staring at her, trying to keep my voice steady. "We need to talk." Her smile falters, confusion clouding her eyes. "What's wrong?" I don't even know where to start. The words choke me, and I feel a flash of panic. What if I'm wrong? What if this is some terrible misunderstanding? But then I remember Jack's tear-streaked face, the fear in his voice. "No, this is real." I take a step closer, my voice low, tight with barely controlled rage. "Jack told me something tonight. He told me he saw you with another man. In our bed." Her face pales, the blood draining from her cheeks as the color leaves her face. For a split second I see it, the guilt, the fear. But then she recovers, shaking her head, trying to laugh it off. "That's ridiculous, Mark. Jack's just a kid. He probably saw something on TV and got confused." The dismissal in her voice, the casual way she brushes off our son's trauma, sends a surge of anger through me. I can't believe this. She's actually trying to gaslight me, to make me doubt my own child. "Don't lie to me, Anna," I snap, my voice harsher than I intended. "I know you're cheating on me. Just admit it." For a moment she just stares at me, eyes wide, like a deer caught in headlights. Then she looks away, her hands trembling as she fiddles with the hem of the blanket. "Mark, it's not what you think." My heart clenches. There it is. The admission, hidden beneath the weak denial. I feel a cold, hard knot of anger forming in my chest. All the years we've spent together, all the trust, the love, shattered in an instant. "Who is he?" I demand, my voice ice cold. "How long has this been going on?" She hesitates, biting her lip, and I can see the wheels turning in her head, trying to figure out how to minimize the damage. But there's no way out of this. Not now. Not after what she's done. "Mark, please," she whispers, tears welling up in her eyes. "It's not what you think. I was lonely, and things between us haven't been the same. But it didn't mean anything, I swear." "Didn't mean anything?" I echo, my voice rising. "You had another man in our bed, Anna. How could you do this? How could you risk everything we built, everything we have?" She breaks down then, sobbing into her hands, but her tears do nothing to soften the cold rage in my heart. I've never felt so betrayed, so disgusted. All I can see when I look at her now is her betrayal, the lies she's been feeding me while she slept with someone else. "I'm sorry, Mark," she cries, her voice muffled. "I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can—" "Counseling?" I cut her off, my voice laced with disbelief. "You think some therapist can fix what you've done? You think we can just go back to the way things were?" She looks up at me, her eyes red and puffy, pleading. "I love you, Mark. I do. I was stupid and I didn't know how to talk to you about how I was feeling. Please don't let this destroy us." But it's too late. Her words, her tears, none of it can undo what's been done. The trust is gone, shattered into pieces that can never be put back together. "I don't know if I can do this, Anna," I say, my voice finally breaking. "I don't know if I can forgive you for this." She reaches out to me, but I pull away, the thought of her touch repulsing me. I need to get out of here, to clear my head before I do something I'll regret. Without another word, I turn and leave the room, her sobs echoing behind me. I stumble down the stairs, my mind a whirlwind of anger, pain, and confusion. I can't think, can't breathe. I need to get away, to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do now. I grab my keys again and head out the door, slamming it behind me. The night air hits me like a slap in the face, cold and biting. I get in the car and drive, no destination in mind, just needing to put as much distance between myself and that house as possible. I drive aimlessly for what feels like hours, my mind racing, my emotions all over the place. How did we get here? How did everything go so wrong? I thought we were happy. I thought we were solid. But now everything feels like a lie. Finally, I pull into a deserted parking lot and shut off the engine. I sit there in the silence, staring out at the empty lot, trying to make sense of what's happened. But I can't. My mind is too tangled, too full of rage and hurt. I think about what Anna said, about feeling lonely, about things not being the same between us. She's not wrong. We've grown distant, wrapped up in our own lives, our own problems. But that doesn't excuse what she did. Nothing does. I replay our conversation in my head, trying to find some clarity, some understanding. But all I feel is anger. I can't believe she's trying to justify her actions, trying to make me feel like this is somehow my fault. But deep down, I know there's truth in her words. We both let this happen, both let our marriage fall apart. But knowing that doesn't make it any easier to forgive her. I think about Jack, about the fear in his eyes when he told me what he saw. I can't let him go through this. I can't let him see our family fall apart. I need to protect him, to shield him from the fallout of this disaster. But how? How do I move forward from this? How do I rebuild the trust that's been shattered? Can I even forgive her, or is this the end? The questions swirl in my mind, unanswered, as I sit in the dark, alone with my thoughts. The weight of what I've just learned presses down on me, heavy and suffocating. I don't know what to do, where to go from here. But one thing is clear, nothing will ever be the same again. The life I thought I had, the future I envisioned, has been torn apart in an instant, leaving me standing in the wreckage, unsure of what to do next. I wake up the next morning with a throbbing headache, the events of the previous night crashing down on me like a wave. I didn't sleep much, my mind racing with questions and anger. Now, in the harsh light of day, everything feels even more surreal. I need to confront him, the man who thinks he can waltz into my life and destroy it. I barely look at Anna as I get dressed. She tries to speak, but I cut her off with a look. I'm not ready to hear more of her lies. I'm not sure I'll ever be ready. She's destroyed the trust we had, and now I'm consumed with the need to make him pay. I know I can't do this alone. I need backup, someone who understands the dark side of life, someone who knows how to handle situations like this. I think of Luke, an old friend from my college days, a guy who took a different path in life, a path that led him into the kind of circles where rules don't apply. I haven't spoken to him in years, but I know he'll help me. He owes me. After dropping Jack off at school, I drive to a bar on the outskirts of town, the kind of place where deals are made in the shadows and questions aren't asked. I find Luke nursing a drink at the far end of the bar, his eyes narrowing as I approach. "Mark," he says, his voice gruff. "Didn't expect to see you here." "I need your help," I say, cutting to the chase. I don't have time for pleasantries. He studies me for a moment, then nods. "What kind of trouble are you in?" I sit down next to him and explain everything. Anna's betrayal, the man who's invaded my life, the anger that's threatening to consume me. Luke listens without interrupting, his expression unreadable. "So you want to scare him?" he asks when I'm done. "Or are you looking for something more permanent?" His words send a shiver down my spine. I know what he's offering, and it terrifies me. But at the same time, there's a dark part of me that wants to see this guy suffer, to feel the pain he's caused me. "I just want to make him pay," I say, my voice tight. "Make him regret ever setting foot in my house." Luke nods slowly, as if weighing my words. "All right, I can help with that. But you need to understand, once you start down this path, there's no turning back." I swallow hard, the weight of his words sinking in. I'm about to cross a line I never imagined I would, but I can't see any other way. This man has taken everything from me, and I can't let him get away with it. I'm in, I say, my voice firm. Whatever it takes. Luke finishes his drink and stands up. Let's go. We leave the bar and get into his car, the silence between us heavy. He drives us to a rundown warehouse on the edge of town, a place that looks like it hasn't seen life in years. Inside, it's dark and cold, the air thick with the smell of oil and rust. Luke leads me to a corner where a black duffel bag sits on the floor. He unzips it and pulls out a small canister of gasoline, a box of matches, and a baseball bat. My heart races as I realize what we're about to do. We're not going to hurt him, Luke says, sensing my hesitation. Just send a message. I nod, though my stomach churns with anxiety. This isn't who I am. But then I think of Jack, of the fear in his eyes when he told me what he saw, and the anger flares up again, pushing aside the doubt. Luke drives us to the man's house, a modest place in a quiet neighborhood. The kind of place where nothing bad is supposed to happen. We wait until nightfall, the darkness providing cover for what we're about to do. When we finally move, it's with the precision of men who've done this before. Luke pours gasoline over the man's car, while I stand watch, my heart pounding in my chest. The sound of liquid hitting metal is unnervingly loud in the still night. Once the car is doused, Luke hands me the matches. Your call. I hesitate, the small box feeling heavy in my hand. This is it. The point of no return. But then I strike the match and watch as the tiny flame flickers to life. Without giving myself time to think, I toss it onto the car. The fire ignites with a whoosh, flames quickly spreading across the vehicle. I step back, the heat intense on my face, my pulse racing. The sight of the car burning, the thought of the man waking up to find his life in ruins, gives me a sick sense of satisfaction. But it's short-lived. As the flames grow higher, I feel a pang of guilt, of fear. What if we're caught? What if this spirals out of control? Time to go, Luke says, pulling me back to reality. We hurry to the car and drive away, leaving the inferno behind us. My hands tremble as I grip the steering wheel, the adrenaline coursing through me like a drug. We don't speak during the drive back to the warehouse. When we arrive, Luke turns to me, his expression serious. This is just the beginning, Mark. If you want to finish this, you're going to need to go all the way. I nod, but the truth is, I don't know if I can. I don't know how far I'm willing to go to get my revenge. But now I've started something I can't walk away from. When I finally get home, it's late and the house is dark. I creep upstairs, trying not to wake Jack or Anna. As I lie in bed, the events of the night replay in my mind, the image of the burning car seared into my memory. I don't know how I'm going to face Anna in the morning, knowing what I've done, but I also know I can't stop now. The next day I wake up with a knot in my stomach. Anna's already up, getting Jack ready for school, acting as if nothing's happened. I wonder if she suspects anything, if she noticed I didn't come to bed until late, but she doesn't say anything, and I don't either. After dropping Jack off, I spend the day at work, trying to focus, but my mind keeps drifting back to the night before. I can't shake the feeling that I've set something in motion that I can't control. I feel a deep unease, a sense of impending doom that gnaws at me. That evening, I get a call from Luke. We need to talk. His tone is serious and my heart sinks. I drive to meet him at the same bar, my anxiety growing with each passing minute. When I arrive, he's already there, a drink in hand, his expression grim. There's a problem, he says as soon as I sit down. What kind of problem? I ask, my voice barely steady. The guy, he's connected. More than we thought. Burning his car wasn't just a scare tactic. It's a declaration of war. My stomach drops. This wasn't supposed to happen. I just wanted to scare him, make him think twice about coming after my family again. But now it's spiraled into something much bigger, something I can't control. What do we do? I ask, panic creeping into my voice. Luke sighs, rubbing a hand over his face. We have to hit back hard. If we don't, he'll come after you, after your family. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about survival. The weight of his words settles over me like a suffocating blanket. I never wanted any of this. I just wanted to protect my family, to make sure Jack never had to see that man again. But now I'm in over my head, caught in a game I don't know how to play. I don't know if I can do this, Luke, I admit, my voice trembling. You don't have a choice, he says, his tone firm. You started this, Mark. Now you have to see it through. I stare at him, my mind racing, the fear and anger twisting together in a tight knot in my chest. I don't want this, but I know he's right. There's no backing out now. I've crossed a line, and the only way out is through. As I leave the bar, I feel a cold dread settle over me. The stakes have been raised, and I'm not sure I'm ready for what's coming, but I have no choice. I have to protect my family no matter the cost. When I get home, Anna's waiting for me, a worried look on her face. Where have you been? Out, I say, my voice clipped. I don't have the energy to lie anymore, to pretend everything is fine. Mark, we need to talk, she says, her voice trembling. About what happened, about us. I look at her, the woman I've loved for so long, and feel a surge of bitterness. She's the reason I'm in this mess, the reason my life is falling apart. But I can't bring myself to say it. Instead, I just nod, too tired to fight. We'll talk, I say, my voice hollow. But not tonight. She looks at me. My phone buzzes in the middle of the night. It's Luke. I sit up in bed, the tension in his voice cutting through my sleep-hazed mind. He's coming after you, Luke says. No preamble, just the cold, hard truth. My blood runs cold. I look over at Anna, still asleep, oblivious to the nightmare that's about to crash into our lives. What do you mean? The guy you're after? He's got connections, Mark. He's not just some random piece of shit. He's got muscle, and he knows where you live. You need to get out now. Panic grips me. I scramble out of bed, pulling on clothes with trembling hands. My thoughts race. Jack. I have to protect Jack. I shake Anna awake, my voice urgent. Anna, we need to go. Now. She blinks up at me, confused, still groggy. What? Why? What's going on? There's no time to explain, I snap, my fear making me harsh. Get dressed and get Jack. We're leaving. She sees the terror in my eyes, the gravity of the situation, and nods, the sleepiness gone in an instant. She hurries to Jack's room while I grab a few essentials. A couple of changes of clothes, my phone, the gun I keep locked in the safe. My heart pounds as I fumble with the combination, finally yanking it open and grabbing the cold metal. I never thought I'd actually need it. Anna comes back with Jack, who's rubbing his eyes, confused and scared. Daddy, what's happening? I crouch down, forcing a calmness I don't feel into my voice. We're going on a little trip, buddy. Just for a few days, okay? We need to leave now, though. He nods, trusting me completely. It nearly breaks me, knowing I'm the reason he's being dragged into this. We pile into the car and I drive us out of the neighborhood, my eyes constantly flicking to the rearview mirror. Every pair of headlights makes my heart skip. I don't know where we're going, just that we need to get as far away as possible. I think about Luke's warning. This man has connections, power. I've stirred up a hornet's nest, and now the swarm is coming for me. As we drive, Anna finally breaks the silence, her voice trembling. Mark, what's going on? Why are we running? I can't look at her, can't face the betrayal and fear I know are in her eyes. I did something, Anna, something to protect us, but it's gotten out of control. Her silence is heavy, loaded with the questions she's too afraid to ask. I keep driving, the tension in the car thick enough to choke on. Finally, after what feels like hours, I pull into a cheap motel on the outskirts of town. It's the kind of place where no one asks questions, where people disappear into the night. Perfect for what we need. We check in under a fake name, and I get us a room at the back, away from prying eyes. I barricade the door with a chair, the gun close at hand. Anna tries to get Jack to sleep, but he's too scared, too confused. I sit by the window, staring out into the darkness, waiting for the inevitable. My phone buzzes again, and I jump, fumbling to answer it. It's Luke. Where are you? He asks. Some motel off the highway? What do I do, Luke? He's silent for a moment, and I can feel the weight of his words before he even speaks. You need to disappear, Mark. This guy isn't going to stop. He's got a price on your head. I swallow hard, my mouth dry. Disappear? How? I know some people. They can help you get new identities, set you up somewhere far away. But you need to decide now, before it's too late. The enormity of what he's saying slams into me. If I do this, there's no going back. I'll lose everything. My job, my life, our home. Jack will have to grow up on the run, always looking over his shoulder. But if I don't, we'll be dead before sunrise. Anna's eyes are on me, wide with fear. She doesn't know what I'm talking about, but she knows it's bad. I hang up the phone and meet her gaze. We need to leave, I say, my voice flat. For good. Luke can help us disappear, start over. She stares at me, disbelief warring with fear. Disappear? Mark, what the hell did you do? I look away, shame burning in my chest. I tried to protect us, but I went too far. Tears fill her eyes and she shakes her head, the weight of it all crashing down on her. How could you do this? To Jack? To us. Her words cut deep, but I can't let myself feel it. Not now. I have to be strong. For them. I don't have a choice, Anna. If we stay, they'll kill us. She turns away, wrapping her arms around herself, trying to hold in the sobs that threaten to break free. I want to comfort her, to make this all go away, but there's no comfort to be found in this nightmare. Jack finally falls asleep, curled up in the corner of the bed, his small body trembling even in sleep. I watch him, my heart breaking. He doesn't deserve this. None of them do. But this is the path I chose, and now I have to walk it, no matter the cost. The hours drag by, the night stretching on endlessly. I keep the gun close, my ears straining for any sound, any sign that they've found us. The fear gnaws at me, a constant, sickening presence in the pit of my stomach. As dawn approaches, the sky lightening to a dull gray, my phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from Luke. They're close. You need to move. Now. Panic surges through me. I shake Anna awake, my voice urgent. We have to go. They're coming. She nods, her face pale, and we quickly gather our things. Jack stirs, groggy and confused, but I don't have time to explain. I grab him, holding him close as we make our way to the car. We speed out of the motel parking lot, the tires screeching on the asphalt. My heart pounds as I drive, the fear of being caught fueling my desperation. I don't know where we're going, only that we have to keep moving, keep running. As we merge onto the highway, I see the headlights in the rearview mirror. Too close, too fast. My stomach drops. They've found us. Hold on, I shout, slamming my foot on the gas. The car roars as we pick up speed, but the other car is faster, closing the distance with terrifying speed. Anna clutches Jack, her eyes wide with terror. Mark, what do we do? I don't have an answer. I've never been in a situation like this. Never imagined my life would turn into a nightmare of car chases and shootouts. But now it's all too real. The car pulls up alongside us, and I see the glint of metal. Gun barrels pointed directly at us. My mind races trying to figure out a way out of this, but there's no time. I swerve trying to knock them off course, but they match my moves, relentless in their pursuit. The first shot rings out, shattering the side window, glass spraying everywhere. Anna screams, ducking down with Jack, trying to shield him from the chaos. I grit my teeth, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. I can't let them win. I can't let them take everything from me. I make a sharp turn off the highway, the car fishtailing as I push it to its limits. The other car follows, but the narrow, winding roads slow them down. I take every twist and turn I can find, trying to lose them, my heart pounding with every second. Finally, I see a narrow dirt road up ahead, barely visible in the early morning light. I turn onto it, the car bouncing and jolting as we speed down the rough path. The other car hesitates, and for a moment, I think we've lost them. But then they're back, the sound of their engine growing louder, closer. I push the car harder, my foot pressing the gas pedal to the floor. But it's no use. They're closing in. I see a bend in the road up ahead, a steep drop-off on the other side. An idea forms, reckless and desperate, but it's our only chance. "Hold on tight," I shout, my voice shaking. Anna clings to Jack, her eyes wide with fear. I hit the gas, speeding towards the bend, the edge of the cliff looming closer. At the last second, I yank the wheel to the right, sending the car skidding off the road, crashing through the brush. The world spins as we careen down the slope, the sound of metal tearing and glass shattering filling the air. Then, everything goes black. I wake up to the sound of water dripping, the taste of blood in my mouth. My head throbs, and for a moment, I can't remember where I am. Then it all comes rushing back. Anna, Jack. My eyes flicker open, the world around me coming into focus slowly. The taste of blood in my mouth is sharp, metallic. I force myself to sit up, wincing as pain shoots through my body. The car is a twisted wreck, crumpled against the trees at the bottom of the ravine. Shattered glass and debris litter the ground. My head pounds, and for a moment, I can't remember where I am or how I got here. Then it all comes rushing back. The chase, the gunshots, the crash. Panic surges through me as I look around, searching for Anna and Jack. "Anna!" I call out, my voice hoarse, frantic. "Jack!" There's a groan from the passenger seat, and I see Anna, slumped forward, her face pale and bloodied. She's breathing, but barely. Relief floods me, but it's short-lived. I still don't see Jack. I claw at my seatbelt, struggling to free myself. The pain is excruciating, but I push through it, desperation giving me strength. Finally, the buckle releases and I half crawl, half stumble out of the car. Jack is lying a few feet away, his small body crumpled on the ground. My heart stops. I stumble over to him, falling to my knees beside him. He's unconscious, a deep gash on his forehead, blood seeping into the dirt. I press my fingers to his neck, searching for a pulse. It's faint, but it's there. "Thank God," I whisper, tears stinging my eyes. "I have to get us out of here. I don't know how much time we have before they find us. I need to find a way back up the ravine, get help, but the world tilts dangerously as I try to stand. I'm losing blood, feeling the cold creeping into my limbs. But I can't give up. I can't let them win." "Anna, wake up," I plead, shaking her gently. She stirs, her eyes fluttering open. They're glazed with pain and confusion, but she recognizes me, and that's enough for now. "Mark, Jack?" Her voice is weak, barely a whisper. "He's alive," I say, forcing calm into my voice. "We need to move." "Can you stand?" She nods weakly, but I can see the effort it takes. I pull her out of the car, supporting her weight as best I can. Together, we make our way over to Jack. I pick him up, cradling his limp body in my arms. He's so light, so fragile, and it tears at me to see him like this. We start up the slope, every step agony. The ground is uneven, treacherous, and more than once I nearly lose my footing. But I keep going, driven by the primal need to protect my family. Anna stumbles beside me, her breath coming in ragged gasps, but she keeps moving, determined. It feels like hours before we reach the top, though it's probably only minutes. The road is deserted, the first light of dawn creeping over the horizon. I spot a car in the distance, and I wave frantically, praying they'll stop. The car slows, pulls over, and a man gets out. He looks shocked at the sight of us, but he doesn't hesitate. He helps us into his car, and I tell him to drive, my voice strained with urgency. "Take us to the nearest hospital," I manage, my vision blurring again. The adrenaline that kept me going is fading, and I feel myself slipping. The ride to the hospital is a blur of pain and fear. I keep checking on Jack, my heart breaking a little more every time I see how pale and still he is. Anna's head rests against my shoulder, her breath shallow and uneven. I don't know how we're going to get through this, but I know I'll do whatever it takes. At the hospital, the staff rushes us inside, and Jack is whisked away before I can even say goodbye. I try to follow, but my legs give out, and I collapse onto a gurney. The last thing I see before the darkness takes me is Anna's face, her eyes filled with fear and something else, something like forgiveness. When I wake up again, I'm in a hospital bed, hooked up to an IV. The room is bright, sterile, and the smell of antiseptic is sharp in the air. My head throbs and every part of me aches, but I'm alive. Barely. Anna is sitting in a chair beside me, her hand resting on mine. She looks exhausted, her face drawn and pale, but she smiles weakly when she sees I'm awake. "Jack?" I ask, my voice cracking. "He's in surgery," she says, her voice thick with emotion. "They're doing everything they can." I nod, closing my eyes, the relief mingled with dread. Surgery means he's still alive, but it also means he's not out of the woods. I don't know how much more of this I can take. "Mark," Anna says softly, squeezing my hand. "We need to talk. About everything." I open my eyes and meet her gaze. There's no anger there, no accusation, just pain and a deep sadness that mirrors my own. "I'm sorry," I say, the words coming out in a rush. "I'm so sorry, Anna. I didn't mean for any of this to happen." She shakes her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. I know you were just trying to protect us. But Mark, you have to stop. This path you're on, it's going to destroy us." I look away, guilt gnawing at me. She's right. I've let my anger, my need for revenge consume me, and now it's cost us everything. "I don't know how to stop," I admit, my voice breaking. "I don't know how to fix this." She leans forward, pressing her forehead against mine. "We can start by being honest. With each other. No more secrets, no more lies." I nod, the weight of her words settling over me. She's offering me a way out, a chance to rebuild what we've lost. But it's not going to be easy. The things I've done, the choices I've made, they can't be undone. But I owe it to Jack, to Anna, to try. The days that follow are a blur of hospital visits, police interviews, and endless questions. Jack pulls through the surgery, but the doctors say it's going to be a long recovery. They're worried about brain damage, about the long-term effects of his injuries. The thought of him not being the same little boy, of losing the bright, curious child I know, is almost too much to bear. The police are all over us, digging into every aspect of our lives, our past. They know something is off, but they can't pin anything on us, yet. Luke is gone, vanished without a trace, and I know I'll never see him again. He's smart enough to know when to cut his losses, but I can't run anymore. I have to face what I've done. Anna and I talk, really talk, for the first time in years. We strip away the lies, the betrayals, and what's left is raw and painful. But it's real. She tells me about the affair, about how lonely she felt, how distant I became. I tell her about the anger, the fear that drove me to the brink. We cry, we fight, but in the end we find a fragile understanding. But it's not enough. The truth is, the man I've become is someone I don't recognize, someone I don't want to be. The darkness I embraced in the name of revenge has left a stain on me, on us, that I don't know how to wash away. As the weeks go by, the police close in. They've got questions I can't answer, evidence that ties me to the fire, to the violence. I can see the end coming, and there's no way to stop it, but maybe that's what I deserve. One night, as we sit in the hospital, watching over Jack, Anna turns to me, her eyes filled with a quiet resolve. "We can't go back, Mark," she says, "but we can try to move forward, for Jack, for us." I nod, but the doubt lingers. I don't know if I can be the man she needs me to be, the father Jack deserves, but I have to try. The next morning, I walk into the police station and turn myself in. I tell them everything, about the affair, the revenge, the fire, the crash. They listen, their faces unreadable, and when I'm done, they put me in handcuffs. As they lead me away, I catch a glimpse of Anna and Jack through the window. She's holding him close, her face set in a mask of determination. She'll be okay, I tell myself. They'll be okay. But as the door closes behind me, the weight of what I've done settles over me, crushing in its finality. I don't know what the future holds, but I know one thing for certain. This is the price of my revenge, and it's more than I ever imagined I'd have to pay. The courtroom is a cold, sterile place, the kind of room that seems to suck the life out of anyone who enters. The air is heavy with tension, the walls lined with faces, some familiar, most not. I sit at the defense table, hands clasped in front of me, the weight of everything I've done pressing down like a vice. Anna is in the gallery, her eyes on me. But there's a distance between us now, a chasm I'm not sure we can ever cross. She's here for Jack, I tell myself, not for me. I don't deserve her support, not after everything I've put her through. She knows it, and so do I. The prosecutor, a sharp-eyed man with a cold smile, is laying out the case against me, his words slicing through the air like a knife. He's good, too good, and every sentence feels like another nail in my coffin. He talks about the fire, the car chase, the threats, painting a picture of a man consumed by rage, a man who let his anger spiral into violence. He's not wrong. My lawyer leans in, whispering something about strategy, about the need to appear remorseful, but I barely hear him. My mind is elsewhere, replaying the events that led me here, the choices I made, the lines I crossed. I glance over at Anna again. She's pale, her face drawn, and I can see the toll this is taking on her. Jack is at home, still recovering, and I know she blames me for the scars he'll carry for the rest of his life. She's right to. I can't forgive myself for that, and I don't expect her to either. The trial drags on, each day blending into the next. Witnesses are called, evidence is presented, and with each passing hour, the walls close in a little tighter. The prosecution is methodical, relentless, and it becomes clear that they're going to make an example out of me. When Anna takes the stand, I feel my heart drop into my stomach. She's the key witness, the one who can either seal my fate or give me a fighting chance. I watch her closely as she's sworn in, my pulse pounding in my ears. The prosecutor starts with the basics, her name, her relationship to me, and then he moves in for the kill. He asks about the affair, about my reaction when I found out, about the night of the crash. His questions are sharp, probing, and I can see her struggling to hold herself together. I made a mistake, she says, her voice trembling. But Mark, he didn't deserve what happened. He was just trying to protect our family. Protect, the prosecutor repeats, his tone dripping with skepticism. By burning down a man's car? By engaging in a high-speed chase with a child in the car? Anna flinches at his words, and I want to stand up, to shout at the prosecutor to leave her alone. But I know I can't. I have to sit here and watch as she's torn apart on the stand, all because of me. He was scared, Anna says, her voice stronger now. We both were, and yes, he made mistakes, but he wasn't acting out of malice. He was desperate. The prosecutor presses her, trying to get her to admit that I was a danger to her, to Jack, but she holds firm, refusing to give him the ammunition he needs. She's protecting me, even now, and it tears me apart inside. When she's finally dismissed, she walks past me without a word, her eyes forward, not meeting mine. I want to reach out, to tell her I'm sorry, but I know it's too late for that. The damage is done. The trial continues, and with each passing day, my chances of walking out of here, a free man, grow slimmer. My lawyer tries to build a defense, but the evidence is stacked against me, and the jury can see it. They're already making up their minds. I can feel it. When it's finally my turn to take the stand, I'm numb, my emotions buried deep under a mountain of guilt and regret. The courtroom is silent as I'm sworn in, and I can feel every eye in the room on me, waiting to see what I'll say. My lawyer starts with the basics, asking me about my life, my family, trying to paint a picture of a man who lost his way, but isn't beyond redemption. But when the prosecutor takes over, the atmosphere shifts, the tension ratcheting up a notch. Mr. Thompson, he begins, his voice smooth, almost gentle. You claim that everything you did was out of love for your family. But isn't it true that your actions put them in more danger than they were ever in before? I swallow hard, my throat dry. Yes. I didn't mean for it to happen, but Yes. And you thought the best way to protect them was by escalating the situation? By taking matters into your own hands? I wasn't thinking clearly, I admit, the words heavy in my mouth. I was angry, and I made mistakes. But I never wanted to hurt anyone. Yet people were hurt, he presses. Your son was nearly killed. Your wife, how do you think she feels knowing her husband was capable of such violence? I flinch at his words, the truth of them slicing through me. She shouldn't have to feel that way. I failed her, and I failed my son. The prosecutor's eyes narrow, sensing weakness. And what about the man you attacked? The one whose car you set on fire? Do you feel any remorse for what you did to him? I close my eyes, the image of that night flashing through my mind. The flames, the fear, the chaos. Yes, I say finally, my voice barely above a whisper. I regret all of it. The prosecutor steps back, satisfied, and I'm left sitting there, the weight of my confession hanging in the air. The jury's watching me, their faces a mix of judgment and pity, and I know I've lost. When the trial finally ends, the verdict is almost a formality. Guilty on all counts. The sentence is harsh, but not unexpected. Years in prison, a lifetime of consequences for a few moments of madness. As I'm led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, I catch one last glimpse of Anna. She's holding Jack, her face a mask of strength, but I can see the cracks beneath the surface. She's trying to hold it together for him, for their future, but I know I've left her with scars that will never fully heal. The prison is a bleak, soulless place, the walls high and unyielding. My days blur together, the routine of confinement eroding my sense of time, of self. I spend hours in my cell staring at the ceiling, replaying every choice I made, every mistake. I think about Jack, about how much I've missed, how much I'll continue to miss as he grows up without me. Letters from Anna come occasionally, updates on Jack's recovery, on their life without me. They're polite, distant, as if she's writing to a stranger. I can't blame her. I am a stranger now, even to myself. The trial has stripped me bare, forced me to confront the darkest parts of myself, the parts I tried to bury under layers of justification and anger. I see now that the path I chose wasn't about protecting my family. It was about revenge, about feeding the darkness that was already inside me. The months turn into years, and the weight of my guilt never lessens. But in the quiet moments, I find a strange kind of peace, an acceptance of the man I've become. I write to Jack, trying to explain, to make him understand, but I know my words will never be enough. I've taken so much from him, from Anna, and there's no way to give it back. As my sentence nears its end, the prospect of freedom is both a hope and a fear. I don't know what waits for me on the other side of these walls, but I know that the man who walks out will not be the same man who walked in. The day finally comes, and as I step out into the sunlight for the first time in years, the world feels both familiar and alien. I'm free, but the price of that freedom is written on my soul, in scars that will never fade. Anna and Jack are waiting for me, their faces unreadable. I walk towards them, each step heavy with uncertainty, with the knowledge that I can never undo the past. But as I stand before them, I see something in their eyes, something I never expected. Forgiveness, not complete, not yet, but enough to give me hope. Enough to make me believe that maybe, just maybe, we can find a way forward. I stand outside the courthouse, the cold wind biting through my thin jacket. The sky is overcast, a dull gray that matches the heaviness in my chest. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but it's impossible to shake the feeling that everything has changed, that I'll never be the same man who walked into this building months ago. The trial is over. The jury has spoken, and though I've been given my freedom, I can't help but feel like I've lost something much more important. The weight of my actions, the decisions I made in anger and fear, pressed down on me, suffocating. I glance at Anna standing a few feet away, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. She looks so small, so fragile, and I can see the lines of strain etched into her face. We've been through hell together, and I know she's only here for Jack's sake. There's a distance between us now, a chasm that might never be bridged, but I still love her, more than I can put into words. Anna meets my gaze, and for a moment, I see a flicker of the woman I fell in love with all those years ago. But it's fleeting, quickly replaced by the guarded, wary expression she's worn since this nightmare began. I can't blame her. I've put her through more than anyone should have to endure. Jack is with her, his hand tightly gripping hers. He's older now, the innocence in his eyes replaced by something harder, something that breaks my heart every time I see it. He's been through so much, too much for a child his age, and I know that no matter how hard I try, I'll never be able to give him back the carefree life he deserves. But I have to try. I walk over to them, my steps slow, deliberate, as if each one might be my last. Anna doesn't move, doesn't say anything, just watches me with those unreadable eyes. Jack looks up at me, his expression uncertain, as if he's not sure what to make of me anymore. "Hi, buddy," I say, my voice rough. "How are you doing?" He shrugs, a gesture that's too old for him, too world-weary. "Okay, I guess." I nod, swallowing the lump in my throat. "I'm glad to see you." "I missed you." Jack doesn't say anything, just looks down at his shoes, his grip on Anna's hand tightening. The silence stretches on, heavy and uncomfortable, until Anna finally speaks. "What now, Mark?" Her voice is quiet, but there's a steeliness to it that wasn't there before. I don't have an answer for her. I don't know what comes next. All I know is that the life we had is gone, shattered by the choices I made. But I can't give up. Not on them, not on us. I don't know, I admit, my voice barely above a whisper. But I want to try, Anna. I want to make things right as much as I can. She looks at me for a long moment, her eyes searching mine, and I can see the conflict in her. She wants to believe me, wants to find a way to move forward, but the scars are too deep, the wound's still raw. "I don't know if we can," she says finally, her voice cracking. "Too much has happened, Mark. I don't know if I can trust you again." The pain in her words cuts deep, but I don't let it show. I can't push her, can't force her to forgive me. All I can do is be here, be present, and hope that over time we can find a way to heal. "I understand," I say, forcing myself to meet her gaze. "And I won't ask you to make any promises, but I'm not going anywhere, Anna. I'm going to be here for Jack, for you, no matter what." She nods, a small, almost imperceptible movement, and I know it's the best I can hope for right now. It's not much, but it's something. We stand there in silence, the three of us, and for a moment, it feels like the world has stopped spinning. There's no rush, no urgency, just the quiet, tentative steps towards a future that's uncertain, but still possible. Finally, Anna takes a deep breath and turns to Jack. "Let's go home." Jack nods, and as they start to walk away, I feel a pang of fear, a gnawing worry that this might be the last time I see them together like this. But then, to my surprise, Anna pauses and looks back at me. "Are you coming?" she asks, her voice soft, almost hesitant. I blink, the question taking me off guard. For a moment, I'm not sure I heard her right, but the look in her eyes tells me everything I need to know. She's not ready to forgive, not yet, but she's willing to let me try. And that's enough. I nod, my heart pounding in my chest. "Yeah, I'm coming." We walk to the car together, the silence between us no longer as heavy, as oppressive. There's still a long road ahead, filled with uncertainty and pain, but for the first time in what feels like forever, I see a glimmer of hope. As I slide into the back seat, I glance at Jack, who's staring out the window, his expression thoughtful. I reach out, resting my hand on his shoulder, and he doesn't pull away. It's a small gesture, but it means the world to me. The engine hums to life, and as we pull away from the courthouse, I take one last look at the building that has come to symbolize everything I've lost, everything I'm trying to rebuild. It's behind me now, and I'm finally ready to leave it there. We drive in silence, the road stretching out before us, and I can't help but wonder what the future holds. It's not going to be easy, and I know there will be days when the past feels too heavy to bear. But as long as I have them by my side, I know I can keep going. For the first time in a long time, I feel a sense of peace, a quiet acceptance of who I am, what I've done, and what I need to do to make things right. The road ahead is uncertain, but it's one I'm willing to travel. And as we drive away, the sun finally breaks through the clouds, casting a warm golden light over the horizon, a promise of a new beginning.